Morning. Margarita.
Good morning. Good
Good
morning to
morning.
everyone. Warm welcome to the speakers. Today it's a very special session. It's the 22nd session of the series Education and Training in the Space Sector. But as NEREUS, we have decided at least once per year to dedicate a webinar on space women and the fantastic work that it's being done in the space sector by women. Today, we have decided to invite space women working across different disciplines in the space sector. And this has, as a result, to have speakers from space women working in the institutions, in the academia, but also in the private space sector. And today we are quite full. We have a very rich and diverse panel. So I will immediately give the floor to the first speaker. It's Cristina Ananasso from ECMWF. She is the lead of the Copernicus National Uptake and Thematic Collaboration Team. And Cristina, we are very interested in listening to your own career path, how you started working in the space sector, what are your current activities, and also we recently found out that ECMWF is focused on specific training activities, and we are very interested also to listen more about this. So please, the floor is yours for the next minutes.
Thank you, Margarita, and thank you all, and thank you for having invited me here. So let me start sharing the presentation. Okay. Can you see in presentation mode?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So good morning, everyone. Yes, my name is Cristina Ananasso. I work at ECMWF, the European Center for Medium Range Weather Forecast. And I give this presentation focusing indeed on what we are doing for capacity building and training at ECMWF. So actually, it's my colleague Chris Stewart that is in charge of these activities, but I'm very pleased to present also on his behalf. What is ECMWF? I never give for granted that everyone knows about us. So apart from quite difficult acronyms, ECMWF is an intergovernmental organization that was established in 1975. So last year we celebrated the 50th anniversary. We have 23 member states and 12 cooperating states in our council. And we reach now a quite high number of staff with more than 550 people. We have 3 sites. Our headquarters is in Reading. Then there is a new, well, not anymore new, but okay, another site in Bonn since 5 years. And then we have our data center in Bologna, in Italy. ECMWF is an operational service, so 24 hours, 7 days a week. And we provide operationally weather forecast for our member states, for our cooperating states, and in general, we support national weather services, research institutions, but also business at a global level. We are also a research institution because we want to be always on the top of the state of the art for continuously improve our models, our assimilation, and in particular reanalysis. In the context of the European Union, we operate 2 out of 6 Copernicus services, and in particular, we operate the climate change service, the atmosphere monitoring service, and we support JRC, the Joint Research Center, for the Copernicus Emergency Management Service. Recently, we joined the Global Gateway program that is led by DG INPA with a project on strengthening early warning in Africa. So we started our collaboration, we reinforced somehow our collaboration with a lot of countries and regional institutions in Africa to improve access, process, and applicability of our data and our products for early warning. And last but not least, we work in the Destination Earth program. Maybe you have heard about this. And we, together with ESA and the EUMETSAT in particular, and we operate the Destiny digital twin engine, and also we operate two digital twins on climate adaptation and extreme events. Then actually, I mean, you asked me to present myself in a little bit more details. So I started, I'm not going to say how many years ago, in Rome with a degree in physics, in particular in satellite oceanography. Then I had my PhD in polar science, and for this I moved a bit between Rome, Siena, where it was the university, and Miami for some months. In particular, there I was working on the radiative balance in the polar region using Earth observation data. Then I start working at the Italian Space Agency as a project manager for development of Earth observation-based application. And there I worked between Matera for the first years, and then I went back to Rome. As you probably know, in Matera, there is one of the Italian Space Agency center. I continued to study, so I had a master, I got a master in project management and another master in space institution and policies, both of them in Rome. In parallel of this, I had also a private life, so I married, and then I had two daughters. Then, as a family, we decided to move to Brussels. I've been seconded from the Italian Space Agency to DG DEFIS. DG DEFIS, Defense, Industry and Space, the Directorate General for Defense, Industry and Space. They are in charge of the space program, obviously, and in particular, I was working on Copernicus. After 6 years, I moved to Bonn and I started working at TCMWF. In particular, as you have already said before, Margarita, and the National Partnership for both CAMS and C3S, and in particular for the National Collaboration Programs. So I like to highlight this red line that connects my professional life. I always work with Earth observation data. It's important, it was always important for me to understand what are these Earth observation data, who need this data, and why. And with my work, I always try to give a response and to provide support to our user in knowing better Earth observation, but now being at TCMWF also to all the modeling capabilities that are key to work in the climate sector, but also in the atmosphere monitoring. So this is a bit my story. But let's go back also to the other topic, I mean, to the most important topic for this webinar. At TCMWF, as I said before, we are not only an operational and research institution, but we are also a capacity building up for meteorology, climate, and Earth system communities. So training needs is one of the essential needs and requirements that we always collect when we have our exchange and our interaction with the user. So capacity building is also another important component for ECMWF, in particular for Copernicus, Destination Earth, and also SIWA, that is the program with the African country. We provided then recently, this is really a new website that we propose we published at the beginning of the year, with the main goal to not only internally but also toward our external stakeholders to provide information on training and capacity building in a more coordinated cross-departmental way. And we involve not only, for example, Chris Yua, that is the coordinator, but we involve all our scientists, analysts, user services, and communication people to provide this information. So this is the website where you can find all our training material on meteorology and computing. Obviously, we provide advanced course in numerical weather prediction and the use of ECMWF focused products and computing services. Then we provide a lot of training, but also outreach material or training material for Copernicus. And it's important to say that all these elements are there and they are available and are free for everyone. So you can access our website and you can use this material for your own training. And then we organize specific training for communities. For example, recently we have this training for data journalists. And also it's quite new, this C3S massive open online course, and I already provide the link where you can have a look. Recently, I would say in the last 4 or 5 years, obviously, machine learning is another important element in our portfolio, working with Destiny, and you can find there a series of online courses for machine learning, artificial intelligence, and Destiny. The website, the learning catalog as a new version, and we try to do our best to respect the FAIR principle, where everything should be easily foundable based on keyword, on topic, if you prefer to know about event that we are organizing, or if you want to download, for example, material that is already there.
Christina, just a few seconds to close the presentation.
Yes, I have a couple of slides, but I'm not going to present them in details. I want really to emphasize the fact that we are trying to connect what we are doing at global and European level to national level, and somehow to try to reach the regions that are your main stakeholders. So we do this through the National Collaboration Program, both in CAMS and in C3S, where we have dedicated activities for training. And in this case, for both CAMS and C3S, we have several institutions at national level that develop their own training for their user. And another important element in national language. So this is something that for me, it's really important to
native material.
That's it from my side. Thank you again.
Christina, thank you very much. And also we are looking forward because we have the NEREUS Regional Symposium in Bologna in Emilia-Romagna this year. So ECMWF is also based in some of the offices also in Emilia-Romagna. So we will be happy to see you there again. Thank you very much for your inspiring presentation, and also the combination of personal and professional lives. This is very encouraging for the rest of the women.
Yes,
and
I hope so.
And of course, I would like to warm welcome the 3 men in our webinar today. President Antonio Colangelo, thank you very much for joining. Dr. Dimitrios Troikos from the University of Bologna and London School of Economics, and Gennaro Russo from DAC, Sardinia. So I would like to move on with the next speaker to close the women representing the institutions. And I would like to present to you Mathilde Raymond, who is the EU program coordinator at ESA Brussels office, EU Relations Office. And Matilde, we will be glad to hear your work in the office, but also your career path. Please, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Margarita. Let me share my screen. All right. Let me know if you can see it and if the slide mode is working or not. Should work now.
Yes, yes.
Yes? Okay, perfect. Okay, so good morning, everyone, and thank you very much for the invitation. As Margarita said, I'm Mathilde Ramon. I'm working for the ESA Brussels office in the office in charge of the relation between ESA, the European Space Agency, and the European Union. So if I have to speak about my career in space, it would be extremely short, and we can stop the presentation kind of immediately, because my career in space started only 3 years ago in 2023 when I joined ESA. Before that, I was not working in the space sector. So how did I end up there? This is me. And my first contact with space was probably in 1996 when I saw Claudie Aigneret, the first European and French female astronaut in the Mir station. She went there for a mission of 16 days. And I remember seeing her on the news and realizing, wow, this is not only for guys. That's really cool. I didn't know that women could also be astronauts. That's the first time I see one. And I got really interested in space from that moment on. But yeah, like my brother said, you can't be an astronaut. You wear glasses. You can never be an astronaut if you wear glasses. And you're too short. They don't make spacesuit your size, because I'm indeed very short. So I gave up on the idea of being in the space sector, but it stayed somewhere at the back of my mind. And when I had to choose my studies, I hesitated. Scientific studies, could it be space studies or ocean-related studies? I didn't know. But at the same time, I was also very interested in law study. At that moment, I really believed that I would become a prosecutor. That was kind of my ultimate goal, becoming a prosecutor. So I studied law. And I specialized in European law, in EU law, and in international law as well, and international and European policies. So again, nothing to do with space. I really focused on a purely legislative, policy-oriented area. And following that, I worked for 13 years in the sector of scientific research, not as a scientist myself, but that's how little by little I went back to closer, let's say, to science. I worked in the policy area for science. So I was working first for the Belgian administration, and then for an international or European-wide federation. Supporting collaboration for science, designing policies that support international collaboration for science, working in the funding sector as well, so funding research and innovation, both for universities and SMEs and startups as well. So little by little, I had 2 different positions. I worked as well for the Belgian presidency of the European Union in 2010. So little by little, in those 2 positions, I specialized, still having a policy and legal background, but more on a scientific topic and on international cooperation, working with members as well, with member states, so working with different countries, so in very international organizations. So I did that for 13 years. And after that, I joined ESA in 2023. So this shows that even without a STEM background, even without having a strong space background, well, sometimes our path goes back to, can go back to space area. And because I had the background in international cooperation, in EU affairs, and in scientific matters and programs, I joined the ESA Brussels office, so the office in charge of the relations between ESA, which is an intergovernmental organization, so not an EU organization, and the European Union. So what does the office do? We do several things. First of all, our main role, as you can see, is making the link between ESA and the EU and its institutions in Brussels, especially the three biggest ones, the Commission, the Parliament, and the Council of the EU. Our role is to devise, coordinate, and support ESA's policy vis-à-vis those EU institutions. We represent ESA to the EU institutions. Of course, we're not the only ones, but we are here on a daily basis, so we represent ESA on a daily basis. But obviously, we make the link with the Director General of ESA or the directors of ESA and other colleagues. So we support them when they represent ESA to the EU. We foster cooperation, or we try to foster cooperation between everyone here, including other space actors in Brussels, not only the institutions. NEREUS obviously is an important partner, Eurospace, so the organization representing space industry and other organizations. So we have strong links with all those, the Brussels bubble, like we say. We try to strengthen the relation between all those organizations. We do watch, hence at the bottom, the little binoculars. We follow, we follow what's happening in Brussels. We report to ESA. We make them understand the development, the policy developments here in Brussels related to space, but not only, anything that could impact ESA or that could impact the space sector. We work, of course, with the various ESA directorates to promote ESA's policies, initiatives, and programs here in Brussels. We prepare briefings for our colleagues for the DG when it comes to Brussels. We also have actually a strong team that is posted within the EU institutions working on the programs like Galileo, Iris Square now. So we have colleagues from ESA seconded or posted within the institution. So we make the link with them. And a last mission is also to inform our colleagues within the ESA how the EU works. So we have a little training function, which is also explaining what the EU is to our colleagues, including engineers who are not used, let's say, to work with those institutions, but that have to work on programs, on EU programs. That's in a nutshell the role of the office. The head of the office is also a woman, Céline Bégon, who joined recently. So yeah, they are. We certainly have a gender-balanced office, and the head of office
Female
is
composed.
a woman. Absolutely. And then just to finish, a few words about women in ESA in general. As you can see, they are at the moment nearly 30% of women in ESA, at least in staff positions. I do not have the count for the contractor positions, but for staff positions, we are nearly at 30%. And you can see at the top management level, it's growing very steadily for the past 10 years now. There were 8% of women at top management. Top management is for us A5 and more. So for those that do not know, of course, ESA's grade, this is, let's say, the level of head of divisions, head of departments, and directors and more. So we went from 8% in 2016 to 20% in 2024. I do not have the most recent numbers, but you can see that it's a very encouraging increase. In terms of applications, we are still struggling to improve the number of applicants coming from women. We are now at 28%, or at least in 2024, we were 28% of women applying. But for STEM positions, and STEM positions are 80% of ESA's positions, we do not succeed to go much higher, 20%. So there's still a lot of effort to do here to attract more women for STEM positions. What is encouraging, though, it's the comparison between the two last graphs. So when we see the percentages for recruited staff or recruited women, it's higher than the number of applications. So we actually succeed to recruit. The proportion of women recruited is higher than the proportion of women applying. So that is great. It shows that we have very good profiles from women, very good quality applicants. What do we do to encourage more women to apply and more women to shine within ESA? There are many programs in place. We have a diversity and inclusiveness strategy and policy, and then a full team dedicated to diversity and inclusiveness at ESA. I might not go through the entire list. You will probably receive the slide at the end. But we have put in place many initiatives to really support women, both before they join ESA and once they're inside ESA. Final image, this morning there was a launch of an ESA mission, the SMILE mission, which is aimed at studying how the sun activities impact Earth. And as you can see, there are a lot of very successful and impressive women in the team that could make that mission possible. On the left side, you can see Géraldine Najas. She's our director for space transportation system. So she's the one coordinating our launcher programs. On the right side, you see Carol Mundel. She's our director for science, but also on the extreme right, Lisa, with leading all the international relations for science, because this mission is a joint mission with China, in between Laura in charge of the protocol. So as you can see, at ESA, there are very great opportunities for women, and we're trying to improve that every day. Yep. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your insightful presentation. And it's quite encouraging to see how traditionally male-dominated space organizations now they are, let's say, now they are becoming more and more open to women applicants, and we see the results, and this is quite positive. So thank you very much, and we will be glad to share this slide with the percentages and the diversity and inclusiveness feedback. Now, next, I would still stay in ESA, and I would welcome Natasha Callens. She works for the ESA Academy Engagement, and Natasha can also share with us her experience within the space sector, but also mention, highlight a bit more the training activities from ESA. Please, the floor is yours, Natasha.
Thank you, Margarita. We'll try to share my slides. Do you see full screen?
Yes, yes.
So good morning, everyone. Thank you for having me today. My name is Natasha Callens. As it was said, I work for ESA, like Mathilde, in what we call the ESA Education Office. And I'm very pleased to share today my journey to space and to education. I'm trying to change slide. Let's see. Up. So where my interest in space began, I'm from an old generation. At my time, when I was at high school, we didn't have smartphones. We had limited access to internet. So how I discovered the space sector was through a magazine that was published by BELSPO, the Belgian entity responsible for space and science, that was called Space Connection. And from the moment I opened one of these magazines until the moment they stopped publishing it, I read all of them. I became a huge fan, but I also knew that I wanted to work in the space sector. And a little bit like Mathilde, I at some point dream about becoming an astronaut. I also saw Claudie going to space. But me, it was not my brother, it was my parents that told me, you know, it's more difficult to become an astronaut than becoming a French president. Indeed, today there have been more French presidents than astronauts. So they told me, and I think it was a good advice, you can have your dream, but try to make some studies that interest you and find a job that you like, and then see where you go. So I decided to become a scientist. I did study I'm Belgium, but I studied in Paris, first science, and then I specialized in physics and then fluid mechanism. And then during my studies, I had the opportunity to do an internship at ESA, at the European Astronaut Center. And it was an amazing experience, as you can imagine. And from that day, I promised myself that one day I will work for ESA and I would do everything I can for that. But then I continued my studies, and during another internship, I got the opportunity to discover the world of research in microgravity. And so when I graduated with my master, I decided to pursue my studies with a PhD, and I did a double PhD between a lab in Brussels and a lab in Paris, where both entities were doing microgravity research. And as you can see on the picture, I got the opportunity to do several parabolic flights and do my own research on microgravity. But during my time in performing my PhD, I start also being involved in the biomix experiment financed by ESA Products. And this experiment was to be launched on a sounding rocket. So when I graduated, I like to say that I worked for 3 years for 2 minutes of microgravity, but thankfully the experiment was successful and we got amazing results. And so after that, I had to take a key decision. Should I stay at university, do some research, maybe a second biomix experiment and a new sounding rocket launch, or should I change and try to reach my objective of one day joining ESA? And at that time, my colleagues were telling me, you know, you are a good researcher, you are good in your lab doing your experiments, but you're also good in managing projects. Yeah, you are a good team leader, you coordinate well, you monitor, you execute, etc. So I start looking for opportunities, and then I found an opportunity that perfectly matched my profile and my objective, was to join ESA in the education office. To be honest, I never thought about working in the education sector before, but the opportunity was to join ESA and to create a program that was called Fly Your Thesis. So the idea was to create a program that offers university students the opportunity to perform experiments in microgravity in a parabolic flight. So for me, it was my way to give the opportunities to students to do the same as I had done during my studies, and I really enjoyed. So this is how I joined the ESA Education Office. So I'm not sure you are familiar with our office, but we have as an objective to inspire and engage the next generation. We want to enhance youngers' literacy and competences in STEM, so science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. We want also to motivate students to pursue studies and then careers in the space sector. So to do that, we are divided in 2 units. The first unit is the STEM Learning and Inspiration unit, where we target teachers, and through the teachers, the school pupils. And for that, we use space as a context to inspire the new generation and bring space into the classroom. Then we have the ESA Academy, where I work, which is dedicated to university students and early career professionals, and where we use space really as the subjects. So I joined the ESA Academy and ESA Education more than 15 years ago. So I had the chance to be there for the development of all our activities. The first activity is projects. So what do we offer? We offer hands-on opportunities for student teams. The idea is to let student teams go through the whole life cycle of a space project. So they come up with an idea and we guide them in the design, building, testing, and operating their experiment. And it's not the end. They need to get data, results, publish if they are successful, and they can use different platforms, going from gravity-related platform, not only the parabolic flights, but we had experiments in the ISS, in drop tower, in centrifuge, and we also have a program for small satellites. So there, the idea is to complement what students are learning at university by offering them an hands-on opportunity while they are still studying. But while we were doing that, we realized that sometimes the students were missing some knowledge that we expect they were learning at university. And also speaking with industry and with our ESA human resources, we saw that we could build a program that would complement what students learn at university.
Sorry, Natasha, I think someone left the microphone open. Could you kindly mute yourself? Because I cannot do it from my side. Sorry, apologies, Natasha.
No problem. Should I continue?
Yes, we will contact the person. Yes, thank you.
So we create this training program where the idea is not to compete with universities, but to complement what students learn at university. And the originality of this program is that the trainings are not delivered by professional trainers, but are delivered by colleagues from ESA, from industry, from academia that work every day in the topic of the training. So the students are coming to ESA or following a training online. Usually the trainings last 4 or 5 days, sometimes 2 weeks, or even if we do a summer school, it can last several weeks. And the students at the end of the training are evaluated to a group project or online test, and then they go home, as you can see on the picture, with a certificate of participation and a course transcript. So if the university allow external credits, they can claim ECTS credit for their participation. And it's a way for them to prepare for the space-related career. Last but not least, the engagement program, the one program I'm in charge currently, is a program that we build to complement the project opportunities, the training opportunities by additional opportunities. So we have set up a way to collaborate with other ESA departments, but also with industry and academia to offer access to students to professional and international conferences, to courses outside the ESA Academy frame, so offered by other ESA departments, but also externally from ESA, like summer schools, for example, academic programs. And for that, we offer to students financial support. So basically, they go for free to this conference, to this course, or to perform a master. But we also facilitate the possibility to join other learning opportunities like hackathons or educational challenges. So what is really the objective of the ESA Academy is to bridge the gap between the future talents and the need of the space industry. What we see today is when a student graduates and look for a job, in most of the vacancy notice, it is asked to have already some experience, which might be difficult to get while you are studying, and to have very specific knowledge that sometimes they cannot gain at university. And this is where we try to play a role. Also with the evolution of the space sector and all these new technologies, we see a need there to support the students, but also the universities and with industry to collaborate all together to prepare the next generation of space scientists, space engineers, but also space talents in general. To conclude, I would like to speak about diversity in space education. So like Mathilde has explained in her presentation, ESA is making a huge effort to have more females represented in ESA, to attract more females to ESA. We do the same at ESA Education Office. We try to have a better gender balance. And the image I chose here, it was an initiative that we did for the Women in Science Day, where we ask females that have participated in our program to be role modeling, to show other girls that you can join our program, you can join the space sector, you can join ESA. But in general, we work on diversity, equity, and inclusion. We welcome application from all eligible candidates. We really foster diversity, equity, and inclusion in our selection. And we support necessary measures to accommodate all special needs. So I'm done. If you like to know more about ESA Academy, yeah, you have here our contacts.
Thank you very much, Natasha, for your presentation. And we really appreciate also the work of ESA, their activities in education and training. So thank you very much. I would now link your presentation with the academia from Belgium. And I'm very happy and proud to give the floor to Professor Sarah Batou. She is the Deputy Director of the Institute of Nuclear Medical Applications at the Belgian Nuclear Research Center. But she's also a space biologist, and she was also my professor in the university. So, Sarah, the floor is yours. And following your presentation, we will, just for the participants to know, we will take a short break, and then we can convey your questions to the speaker. So if you have any question, now it's the time to put it in the chat. Please, Sarah, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I don't know, I hope you can hear me well and that you can see the presentation, the first slide of the presentation. Thank you very much. So it's a great honor to be here, also to share the panel with so bright panelists. So thank you for organizing this event and for allowing me to share a little bit my experience. So my name is Sarah Batou. I'm coming from Belgium. I'm working at the Belgian Nuclear Research Center. And I will speak about this, my journey through radiation biology and space exploration. And as mentioned by Margarita, I'm also a guest prof at the Catholic University of Leuven and at the Ghent University. So just to start with, I'm a biologist, so I studied biology at the Catholic University of Louvain in Louvain-la-Neuve, and that was followed by a PhD in oncology in 2 hospitals in Brussels and near Namur. I was always fascinated by the human body, but also by what goes wrong in the human body and how we can fix that. So I was very interested by diseases from a very early age, and how to develop and how to mitigate these diseases. And later on, as we will see, space is really a good and beautiful example of different experimental changes that happen in the human body, as we will see. During my PhD, I was also a weather forecaster. So I was, and that's something I would like to mention because just to show that career path, as we've seen with the other panelists, are not necessarily linear. And in my case, they are not linear as well. So it is interesting to also to grasp sometimes opportunities that come along the way, and that allows you to also develop skills that you might not have developed in a different context. So I had applied to do the weather forecast. I was in last year of my master, and by the time all the selection process took place, and then the training at the national television took place, and also 6 months training at the army to be a weather forecaster. I got this diploma at the same time as my advanced master. So I started at the same time my PhD in oncology and the weather forecast 2-3 weekends per month. Thereafter, so I was after my PhD, I did a postdoc at SCKCN, so the Belgian Nuclear Research Center, as a researcher first, and then gradually I became head of the lab of the unit, but also so very dedicated to training and education. At the time, we had about 10 to 15 PhD students in my group, the group of radiobiology, because I basically moved forward to more understanding the impact and the importance of using radiation and radiation biology for different aspects like cancer treatment, like development of radiopharmaceuticals, but also for space applications. And I've been very lucky also and privileged to be able to teach different aspects of space medicine, space biology at the KU Leuven and at University of Ghent. So gradually also I became a deputy director in nuclear medical applications. So that's an institute within SCKCN. SCKCN includes about 1,000 people with a very strong education component, with about 90 PhD students that come to SCKCN to perform their PhD during a period of 4 years. And right now in the Institute of Nuclear Medical Applications at SCKCN, we are about 100 staff members with about 25 PhD students. So still very strong training and education component. All through my career, I've been also very happy to be able, as I mentioned, it's not a linear path to do all kinds of experimentation in different countries, so work in different countries, but also amongst others some a very beautiful mission in Antarctica. And that was related to space medicine, space physiology, and that was also combined and in relationship with the different experiments that we had already performed in space. So in total, we have for SCKCN about 15 experiments that flew to the ISS, and we have continuously dosimeters to measure and to monitor radiation on board of the ISS. In 2020, you see a picture in the middle, which is a picture with our king and queen of Belgium. And so I was selected together with Angelique van Ombergen from ESA, that you might also recognize in this picture. We were part of the Women of the Year for Belgium. And at the bottom right, you see a documentary called The Free Electrons, Les Électrons Libres, which is a documentary from 6 different countries with 6 different scientists, female scientists, that depict their life and their work. And the idea is really to help also young women to identify in the context of science. But back to space, and as you can see, space is an extreme environment for human health. And if you look on the left-hand side, the number of physical stresses that are going to impact the body of the astronauts is incredible. So it goes from microgravity, from the change of gravity fields to the impact of radiation. Radiation will also, as we have seen, radiation changes continuously depending on the trajectory of the ISS, but also between ISS missions to the moon and to Mars, the composition and what we say the quality of the radiation is going to change tremendously. So it's very important also to prepare, to know, to be able to monitor, to predict the type of radiation in order to mitigate this radiation impact. But on top of that, you see also other physical stresses, and all that will have a combined effect on the human body. On top of physical stresses, we also have the psychological stresses, the isolation, the confinement, the distance from Earth, and especially in these beautiful Artemis and Deep Space Gateway missions, we are really looking forward to missions to the moon and then to Mars. So distance from Earth and the duration of missions will only continue to increase. And then on top of that, astronauts have got to deal with a high workload, with sleep disturbances. So it is not really an easy life, and a very big impact on the human body. So if we kind of, in a nutshell, sum up the effects of space on humans, they are quite numerous. The very good thing is that they are reversible, so that these space impacts on the human body, as soon as the astronauts come back on Earth, most of these impact and these effects will resolve and in a matter of a few days or a few weeks. So this is very very lucky. However, the impact, for example, from radiation can be long-term impact, and so it's important also to study that with more detail. So you see the different systems in the human body: the nervous system, the muscular, the bone system are impacted by radiation, the cardiovascular system, as well as the immune system. So we really have a combination of many different impact on the human body. that we need to understand better if we really want to have not only a safe mission for long-term space exploration like to Mars, but also a productive mission where the astronauts are being able to work in a very efficient way. So human exploration really depends on understanding biological risks. And this is an important aspect of human space exploration. If we look at space radiation, we can divide it, and space radiation really beyond low Earth orbit. We know that radiation is a showstopper. So certainly for long-term space exploration, like in deep space to Mars, radiation has got to be mitigated by different ways, because it's a combination of solar wind, of solar particle events, and of galactic cosmic radiation. So you see that these different types of radiation have got different characteristics. Some are low hazard, others are really very hazardous to hazardous. So we really need to find ways to mitigate these impacts and these radiation impacts on the human body. And how can we also connect nuclear sciences, because the Belgian Nuclear Research Center and is very specialized into understanding and developing all these type of activities around radiation and radioactivity. How do we connect nuclear sciences and space exploration? So one way, as mentioned, is really understanding better the impact of cosmic radiation on human physiology, but not only that. So you see that you have also the impact of radiation on instruments, on equipment, not only on the human body. So that also needs to be well identified, well characterized. And also, we need to develop shielding, different types of shielding, in order to protect astronauts when they will be staying in the human habitat. And then we also need to have the right life support systems to produce oxygen, to produce water, to recycle urine and feces, to produce food. And all these phenomena require living organisms, bacteria and plants, and they need to be radiation resistant, and they need to be able to do their tasks without being impaired by the impact of radiation. And then another study is also how to stay healthy in space. And also something important is that radiation and nuclear energy can be used for providing and producing reliable energy. And so that's also an aspect of nuclear energy and propulsion, but also energy production that needs to be taken into account. But in my context, I would say, in the kind of research that I'm doing, so it's not only related to astronauts themselves, but also to models space radiation, to model in vitro, in vivo. And so we have access to different ground-based simulation studies. Some of them are organized by ESA, and I'm very grateful to also have been able through the research not only to fly many experiments to the ISS, but also to use these ground-based facilities at ESA. Antarctica is one, the Concordia platform, but there was parabolic flight, as was mentioned earlier on, and also radiation facilities at GSI, for example. So it's a really a wonderful world, also where international collaboration is really crucial. We don't do that alone. We do that in combination and together with different partners from the different ESA member states. So it's a very important aspect also of this research, that it's a collaborative work. And then in terms of human physiology, everything we learn on the impact of space on the human body is really very interesting and important for medicine on Earth. So there is really a direct improvement of healthcare through the research that we do in space. About women in science and space, I see a positive evolution over the recent years, and as mentioned also by one of the speakers, also the increased visibility and the leadership role, certainly at ESA. I think ESA is a model, has to play also a role model for women and for careers of women, and certainly of young females. And I also see we have the beauty of working within the ESA context. We see this diversity, not only cultural diversity and different member states, but we saw also the beauty of being able to use this diversity and how it strengthens science. We also, I think, ESA, but also transfer to the different university and academia in Europe is really well aware of the importance of mentoring, of training, of educating, of having role models in the field of space, in the field of sciences, and of providing equal opportunities, because talent should never be constrained by gender. So it is very important, and certainly in my career, training and education is and really preparing the next generation to work in the space sector is very important. Through different aspects, we already had from the other panelists different aspects on how to train and educate at the level, at the academic level, like the universities I'm working for. We supervise master students, we supervise also PhD students. We have also international teaching activities in a very interdisciplinary context. So these are, for example, the advanced master in which Margarita studied, the advanced master in space studies, is really a nice platform where all different kinds of people who have a master join together and study this within the context of this master, and it's extremely constructive and fruitful. So it's the space sector is very dynamic, is very diverse, and it's not only ESA, it's also with the academia, with the industry, with research institutes like SCK, CEN, because future challenges cannot be solved in isolation. This is really important to point out the importance of collaboration, of cooperation between the different sectors, industrial, academia, but also together with ESA. So looking ahead, I just would like to conclude by saying that space exploration is a multidisciplinary challenge that require absolutely different types of disciplines and expertise, and science and education drive innovation of our society. Partnerships create more impact, and all kinds of partnerships, and curiosity and ambition go along together. So the future of space exploration will not be built by one discipline or one institution, but only by working together. And I propose to stop here my presentation. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Sarah, for your inspiring presentation. As always, you pointed out so many significant aspects of your work, and of course, given the recent mission on Artemis mission, we will need more and more space biologists. So your work is becoming increasingly important, but of course, the space sector is an interdisciplinary sector. So all kind of disciplines are welcomed, because we already need them, and we need more of a female presence to be more accurate. Let's take maybe a moment for questions, and then we continue with the private space sector with Francesca and Vera. I would like to ask all of you, I was listening to your presentations, and all of them were very inspiring, very rich. You really give the 100% of yourself to the sector. Many studies and so on. So I wanted to ask you, the moment that you joined finally the space sector, did you realize that there are actually other skills needed than the ones you could imagine, and that surprised you, let's say. Anyone could answer and take the floor. And then I give the floor to the audience. I see a question from the audience. Maybe soft skills that you couldn't imagine, and then you had to further build on this.
I can start if you want.
Yes, Christina.
Yeah. Indeed, I joined the space sector since the very beginning, as I have already underlined. But I'm not an engineer, and I'm not a person that ever work even. I mean, I work with the software at the very beginning of my career to do my PhD. But then I also left this part. So indeed, I can say that personally, I am a person. I am, yeah. I strengthen my personal skill that are not really close to the space sector by name. So starting with project management, then with a strong background in research. So I really able to understand what the researcher or the scientist needs for their research, but I'm also able to translate these kind of needs into requirement at the beginning for a space mission, for example, when I was at in ASI, but then also to understand when I move a little bit more to the policy sector, working at the Commission and now also at ECMWF, there are very different skills that are needed because you speak with different audience, with different stakeholders, and you should be able to understand their needs coming from very different perspectives. So being able to really listen to them also in an humble way, because all the stakeholders have very different requirements and they need data or services for different purposes. And not always selling a product or selling, let's say, the space, a mission can resolve their problem. But you have really to better understand what they want.
Thank you, Christina. And I have another question from you, actually, coming from Roya. She says that on our platform, the idea of a pilot project addressing skills development and capacity building emerged. You presented some initiatives of your organization to support education training. Could you imagine also to support an activity of a network like NEREUS?
Yes, I mean, definitely the response is yes. We discussed this with Roya, with you. We have to find the right way. As you know, all of our products and services are free and open, and also we are working closely with NEREUS. So we have simply to find the right moment, the right people, and the right context. But yeah, my response is yes, definitely.
So, Roya, you have your positive answer. Sarah, please, you raised your hand.
Yes, I just wanted to complete and add some information to what has just been said. And I think the space field is very multidisciplinary. And first, I thought when I joined that it would be mainly requiring scientific and technical expertise, but I really quite quickly realized that you need to develop also other skills, soft skills that are equally important. And because the space research brings really together people who come from different disciplines, different cultures, different backgrounds, which means that you also have to develop communication skills, so being able to communicate properly and also to work in teams. So teamwork is also essential. you need to adapt the space when you do an space experiment. There are always like difficulties along the way. It's not a straight path, so you really need to adapt and also to have the ability to work with across disciplines, so really to understand the jargon from the other disciplines. And I think I realized that success is not depending only on the scientific quality and the scientific excellence of your experiment, but it's also the ability to connect people, ideas. And I think all the people I know that are really working in the space field are convinced that we need to communicate to the young generation, and we need to do this effort as space scientists. And to motivate them, we need the young generation to be on board and to be to join us. And it's something I think that I realized very much in the space sector to communicate to the young generation.
Science communication, very important. Yes. I will save the questions to give the floor now to the next two speakers, but we will come back to this. It's one question from the audience. You can read it in the chat, and then we can discuss it later on. But now I would like to give the floor, as I said before, to Francesca Albanese. She's representing Planetech Italia, and she's a senior business development specialist and education, and also responsible for the educational and corporate academy. Please, Francesca, the floor is yours.
Okay, I share my screen. Can you see the screen?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Okay, so first of all, thanks a lot to Margarita, to all NEREUS staff for this invitation in this very inspiring panel. So I'm Francesca Albanese. I work at Planetech Italia as a senior business development specialist for education and corporate academy activities. So a large part of my work focuses on connecting the industry, academia, and research institutions while promoting Earth observation, space technologies, and STEM education initiatives. For more than, sorry, I was too fast. For more than 30 years, Planetech has worked to simplify the complexity of space and to make Earth observation technologies accessible and useful for society. Our mission is strongly connected to sustainability and to the protection of our planet, people, and environment. Since 2025, Planetech Italia is part of the Orbit Group, together with Planetech Hellas, which is our sister company in Greece, and together with GAP and JOKE, which are two university spin-off. And this ecosystem combines expertise in Earth observation, AI, geospatial intelligence, and space logistics at an international level. Planetech Italia was founded in 1994, and today includes more than 150 professionals with multidisciplinary expertise ranging from engineering, geoscience, AI, and data analysis. We develop solutions based on satellite data, AI, and geospatial technologies, supporting environmental monitoring, infrastructure management, climate application, and space mission operations in general. But at the same time, we strongly invest in education and capacity building activities. Planetech Italia is also a benefit company, and this means that social and environmental impact are formally integrated in our business model. So for us, innovation is not only about technology, but also about responsibility to our people, communities, and future generations. And this approach strongly influences our activities in education, inclusion, and outreach. Collaboration is very essential in the space sector, and this is one of the examples during this webinar with NEREUS for regions, and this is why we actively participate in international networks connecting industry, institution, research and education, so including NEREUS, the Copernicus Academy, and Women in Aerospace. Women in Aerospace is an international organization dedicated to promoting women and leadership and equal opportunities in the aerospace sector, because we think that diversity and gender equality are very important topics in our company. And the space sector still needs stronger female representation and more inclusive environments. Through our collaboration with Women in Aerospace and local initiatives we organize in Southern Italy, we support awareness activities, networking opportunities, and STEM promotion for young women and girls. We believe diversity is a driver for innovation and creativity. And the Donne fra le Stelle is another initiative to which we took part at Italian level, and it's another initiative to promote the role of women in scientific aerospace research. Planetech operates through 3 market-oriented business units covering space, government and security, and private industry applications. Over the years, we have collaborated with the space agencies, European institutions, public administration, and private companies across multiple sectors, demonstrating how Earth observation technologies can support both institutional and commercial application. Before going to our educational initiatives, I would also like to mention our involvement in IRIDE, the new Italian Earth observation constellation program, supporting digital transition and environmental monitoring at national level. Planetech is responsible for 5 among the 8 thematic domains. And
sorry, Francesca, sorry to interrupt you. A bit briefly on IRIDE and focus mainly on the education activities.
Yes, it's just, yes. I'm going fast. So part of Planetech activities is done within the Academy, which coordinates many of our training, dissemination, and outreach activities. And through this initiative, we collaborate with universities, schools, institutions, and companies to promote capacity building and lifelong learning. One of the most important educational initiatives developed by Planetech in 2021 is the e-learning, our e-learning platform dedicated to Earth observation and remote sensing. The platform provides free courses and educational resources for students, for researchers, professional and public institutions. And our main goal is to make space technologies and satellite application more accessible, especially for younger generations and for people approaching the sector for the first time. We strongly believe that access to knowledge is essential to reduce the skill gap in the space downstream sector. We organize thematic workshops in collaboration with universities and research departments, and these events are usually focused on specific topics of interest for the hosting department, such as Earth observation applications, or AI for geospatial data, climate monitoring, or downstream space activities in general. The idea is to create interaction between industry, researchers, and students, encouraging knowledge exchange and multidisciplinary discussion. For us, these workshops are also an opportunity to better connect academic research with real operational and industrial challenges. Education for us is not only limited to universities or professionals. We also work extensively with high schools and younger students through thematic workshop and international educational project. One example is in this slide, is called Touching the Sky, which is an international initiative involving students from Italy, from Scotland and Afghanistan, using space as a common language connecting different culture and experience. Another project we are particularly proud of is the Guardians of Space, an educational initiative dedicated to children hospitalized in pediatric clinics. And so through storytelling and interactive activities, children discover the Earth observation satellite and learn how space technologies can help us to understand how to protect our planet. This project represents very well our idea that space can also become a tool for inclusion, inspiration, and hope. Planet is also actively involved in several European education and skills initiatives, like the Copernicus Academy and the Space for Geo Alliance, which are networks promoting education and capacity building in the geospatial and Earth observation sector. These initiatives are essential to bridge the gap between academic education and the rapidly growing needs of the space industry. We also participate in European Erasmus Plus projects focused on developing innovative educational resources and new professional skills for the downstream space sector. This is a picture showing all the women working in this project called Space Suite, which is an Erasmus Plus blueprint project. And in this case, we decided to make this picture to promote the International Women Day. That was some months after this meeting. Some participation to hackathons and innovation challenge based on Copernicus data, encouraging students and young innovators to develop a creative solution addressing climate change and environmental challenge. The last one was made within ECMWF. So Cristina will well know this last hackathon organized in Bologna. And finally, collaboration with universities is also reflected in several PhD programs and research fellowships developed together with Italian university and regional institutions. Just to conclude, we believe that space technologies are not only strategic tools for industry and innovation, but also powerful instruments for education, inclusion, and social impact. Building future space ecosystems also means building future skills, opportunity, and awareness. And this can only happen through collaboration between companies, university, institution, and local community. Okay, thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Francesca, for your for your very rich presentation. Planetech Italia is one of the Earth observation companies that have submitted a lot of articles for the Copernicus for Regions initiative, how to advance public administration through Copernicus. So you're very active now also in, as I see, in education and training. It's really impressive. I will come back to you with a final set of questions, okay. But for now, I would like to give the floor to the final speaker, our member from Portugal, Vera Carvalho. She's the Azores Operational Manager for Thales, Portugal. Vera, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you. Hi, everybody. Many thanks for this invitation. I will start sharing my screen. See when you can, if you can see it.
Yes.
Okay, do like this. Otherwise, I don't see you. Give me a second.
We can see the presentation.
You can see it, but I cannot change the slides. Okay. Let me see if I can do it like this. Yeah. Okay, so first of all, I work for Thales Portugal, but in a different way. My journey is a bit different from yours. Thales Portugal has different business areas as cyber and digital, defense and aerospace. I will speak mostly about aerospace, of course, because it's what is my business area. Thales in Portugal now has around 400 employees working in 4 different locations. Porto, where are the cybersecurity services, 3 in Lisbon, and we are going to talk about my island, my teleport, what I do on a daily basis, because for your information, I live in an island of 5,000 persons. Our archipelago has 9 islands. My island is the 3rd smallest one. Everybody have to go out for study to the mainland. There's no universities, so my journey is a bit different. I was not looking to work for space. Space found me. I went to the mainland, and I have here a video of not only my beautiful island, but a teleport that we are building. I work here for 14 years. I see everything that is here being built, and is with a personal proud, because I'm from this island and I'm helping the island to grow. I'm recruiting young persons from the islands that want to return, because it's very difficult to get opportunities in the islands. I leave you with this. I just want to say that I have the office with the best view. Look, I have the ocean right there. Sometimes a bit rainy, you know how is the islands. But it was this location. It was the fact that the Azores are in the middle of the Atlantic that opened the opportunities to create a teleport. So I went out to the mainland. I have a degree in computer engineering. I returned to the island looking for an opportunity. My objective was to start working as a air traffic manager, as my father, because the island has also a big connection to the airport, because of the Americans built our airport during the Second World War, and we have also a big connection to the airport. So everybody wants, in the past, wants to work in the airport. And when I returned to the island, someone told me they are recruiting someone with an engineering degree to work on a place that I never saw. They want to install an antenna, and they need someone with an engineering degree to conduct operations and so on. And I went to the interview. I started as an operation and maintainer. I started also as an operator analysis for Earth observation images. And since 2018, I'm the manager of the teleport. I'm the responsible for the daily operations and to allocating the team to the different tasks. This is the team. On the picture, and I don't know if you see my mouse, this is the former president of Portugal. This is our Ariane, our cat that belongs to the station. She's always around. We are a small team that we do a lot of things, and we are also focused on getting students from our school, because they cannot go higher than they need to go out to have an university degree. But we have some technical degrees here in our high school. And next month we will get 3 of these students with us. Every summer we get students with us. We support CANSAT initiatives that I know that maybe you are not aware, where the students do a small satellite inside a can that are not launched here, but it's an amazing activity. It's supported by us. And we started working with the school to change the mindset of the degrees that they were providing, because the school was focusing only on tourism and tourism and tourism, and we are 9 islands, so we need to focus on what we have. If these persons want to return, they need to have more technical studies. So they start the school accept our advice and start providing computer engineering and network courses, but only basic. No, if they need to go away, if they want to go out. So I will explain a bit what we do. We have our main service and products are launch support, Earth observation, and hosting. And currently the teleport in this beautiful island that I invite you all to come. In the summer, we have a lot of parties, so it's and the beach and sun is really good. the teleport started to become a strategic infrastructure to the national space sector. All started, as I mentioned, with the intention from ESA to install an antenna in this in the middle of the Atlantic. They chose Santa Maria, I'm glad for that, to install that small container and this 5.5 meter antenna to support the ATV program at the time in 2007. But since then, we are supporting the launches from Kourou. We did one in December, one in February, another one last month. We have another one next month, and we foresee another 3 until the end of the year. This is done by the local team. We support all the operations. We also support launch from New Zealand. Using the same antenna, we create here a business synergy, and we support every month. So we work with New Zealand. They are our future. We have 12-hour difference, so sometimes it's difficult to handle the communications, but we normally play and say, you are in our future. But we supported more than 13 missions with them. Regarding Earth observation, as I mentioned again, the location of the Santa Maria in the middle of the Atlantic, we have covered. We can cover this area of complete area of the maritime of the North Atlantic. We are working for EMSA and mostly looking for pollution, oil spill detections in case of an emergency, in case of this accident that happens near to the Azores. We provide the service 24/7. We were called to collect image. This was the side of the pollution that this vessel caused when they burned near to the Azores, and we are responsible to downlink the image, to process the image, to do all the report and deliver to the final customer. We have one of the Galileo sensor stations, which was a huge milestone for the teleport, because this demands to have more persons working locally and to provide this service with the tight KPIs and the times of response very short. I'm very glad that the island is very small and we can go to the teleport in 5 minutes without traffic. So it's all good. Then we had what we call SMA2. We went to Australia. We brought this 15-meter terminal from Perth, and we installed it in Santa Maria. We are currently now upgrading all the systems and providing services also with this. And this was a huge opportunity for Portugal to have this kind of assets for different missions. Also, in 2019, SMA3, we installed an infrastructure for EUMETSAT. EUMETSAT is the Organization of Exploitation Meteorologic Satellites. Someone already talked about this. So we are all connected on the things that we are doing. We installed the first in Europe, the Leo Labs. This is a radar that tracks active satellites in space debris to avoid collisions. This was a huge installation. Just to let you know, this is the biggest concrete platform in the island. So it was not easy. We faced several constraints, but we're done. And last year, we installed this 7.5 meter antenna for Telespazio Italy that will support IRID constellation mission. In the end, we have other private investments in the newer generation space activities installed in the Santa Maria teleport, because, as I mentioned, the location was really important. We are here. We have a multi-task team, local team. It's really important for me to say this. So, as I mentioned, my journey it's different. My location it's a bit different. So I don't have anything to say. If you want to make some questions, I can stop sharing. And thank you.
Vera, thank you very much for this exciting presentation. And as you said, I would also welcome everybody to join the Azores Islands. I have been to most of them, unfortunately not to Santa Maria.
Really?
Yes, many times.
Okay.
The Azores is a NEREUS member region, that's why.
Yes,
Actually,
yes, I know.
the business missions, but it's indeed a fantastic place to be, and we are happy to have in our membership the space island of Europe, which is Santa Maria.
Yes, it
So
is.
you are more than a space woman, let's say. And everybody has to be nice with you because you are holding the communications of the island.
Yes, yes.
That's so thank you very much.
Thank you.
We are close to the end, but I would still like to give the floor to the audience for the final question. We have received a question from Dimitrios Troikos. He's a Marie Curie fellow in the University of Bologna and also the head of Space Policy Unit at the London School of Economics. And he writes, "Thank you all for your excellent and very interesting presentations and for your contributions to space science, education and outreach. I have two related questions. First, as space becomes increasingly linked to security and defense, how can education and outreach remain open, inclusive and inspiring, especially for women and the next generation?" So this is the first question. If someone would like to take it. I don't know, Francesca or Vera, if you have any.
Okay, I can say that Planetech works a lot with defense for security, especially for security. So we often offer training courses to our final customer of defense, just to help them to use remote sensing techniques for their needs and developing geospatial intelligence applications for them. So in our experience, security and defense are strictly connected to space exploration, to space technologies, I mean.
And Sarah, you wanted to say something?
Yes, I think it's a very important and timely question. Indeed, space has become a very has developed strategic and security dimensions over the past decades, and in the geopolitical context is even more important. But I do not believe that security and inclusiveness are exclusive, are mutually excluding each other. I think security requires protection of sensitive technologies, sensitive infrastructures, but I think inclusiveness can still be maintained through open scientific collaboration, through the educational programs that are in place, through capacity building and opportunities for participation across countries and for exchanges of students, but also of professionals. I think it's very important that if we want to know that if we want to continue to sustain and to sustain progress in science, in space, in our society, we also need to reassure the future generations that to continue to see space not only as a strategic domain, but also as an inclusive domain where cooperation and innovation will benefit society. That's what I wanted to say.
No, very interesting point. Someone else before I move on to the second part of the question? Okay, and then what role should be the social sciences play in space education? Do we have someone with a background in social sciences? International cooperation?
Yes, I do.
Yes, Matilde, yes.
I guess I do indeed. I have a background in law, international cooperation, European policy. So for me, it was the other way around. I had to catch up more on the technical skills.
Yes.
So the question, what role should the social science play in space education,
Exactly.
right? Well, it depends, of course. Space education is very broad and covers a lot of different types of skills, a lot of different types of jobs. Not everyone will have to deal with social sciences. However, as one of the speakers said, and I'm sorry, I can't remember who, the space is a very inter or multidisciplinary area. So obviously, social sciences play a strong role. And will continue playing a strong role. And that within ESA, we try to include, or we not try, we do include space law, for example, in the training that we give to even to STEM students. They can access classes of space law. Economics, of course, is important for space, like any other industrial area. Space is also very important for society. So it's also important that people realize what space technologies do for daily lives and therefore the social impact it has on people. So linking anything related to society to space is very important as well, not only in education program, but in the way we discuss with politicians as well. It's important that politicians realize what space technology do for our daily lives, whether it is related to environment monitoring, land planning, forestry, agriculture, etc. So all of that is a bit linked, and it's up to us to demonstrate that space is not a niche. It is included in our daily life, and therefore other disciplines, including social sciences, have a very strong role to play with science.
Indeed. Thank you, Mathilde. Someone else would like to add something, or if you have any other question from your side, from the side of the speakers. Because today, indeed, it was a very rich panel. We heard a lot of interesting things. And I'm also very touched because I see how many women, they really shape this what we say, that we shape the space sector, and it's a reality. You can see it. Today we hosted real testimonies, your experiences. Please, Sarah.
Okay, thank you very much. So no, I wanted to add the importance also of psychology, behavioral sciences in terms of human sciences and social sciences, also especially for human space exploration and for long duration missions. I think also ethics is also an important aspect when we use new technologies, when we for everything related to planetary protection questions. Ethics is also a very important social science or human science that we need to take into consideration. And then we spoke about communication sciences. It's so important to have the public engagement, to communicate our science, to communicate the research, the benefit of this type of endeavor, and to also in the world of fake news, to really reduce misinformation. So I think very important also to by being able and by developing this communication skills, we also fight against fake news. So that's also important.
No, thank you for underlining this point. Someone else to add any question, any other question? And then we can close, I think, the webinar. Thank you all for joining. Thanks to the speakers. You really amazed us today with your achievements, accomplishments, and presentations. We are very lucky to have you working in the space sector. You really move forward this domain. Thanks to the 4 men joining the webinar and supporting women, space women. Thank you for your questions. And we would like also to share again for promotional purposes this webinar, this online info session together with your presentations. And we were very happy to have you today with us, and thank you for accepting our invitation. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Margarita.
Thank you very
Bye
much,
bye.
Margarita. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.